Welcome to another episode of Slam Fire. So, we are here. Well, actually, I'm just here. So, we're here with a quick intro, just like we always do. Remember, guys, you can find us on YouTube, BitChute, as well as Rumble. Right there. Just go to slamfiremedia.com and we have all our videos listed there. So, last time we left off on episode 8, I believe it was. I think we're on episode 9. Episode 9. So, thanks for checking us out, guys. Go to slamfiremedia.com to check out all the latest videos. Let's get into it really quick. Be flying solo today, guys. It seems like it. Just wanted to talk about a few things that have been going on. I kind of wanted to take a break from like everything that we've kind of been talking about. I mean, everything that we've been talking about has been feeling like a little bit heavy duty, just like really deep stuff to really get your mind thinking about all these different aspects of, you know, people's lives and people's mentality and just our everyday struggles pretty much, right? Things that we think about, things that we aspire to and considerations and all these different things. It's kind of heavy duty stuff. So I kind of want to just like pull back a little bit and just kind of talk about what's going on and just give thoughts about it, real simple, just kind of catching up on news articles and just simple things that are going on to kind of take a break from all of that philosophical heavy duty things because I had recently I was talking to the Slanted Scholar earlier today and or earlier this week actually. He had sent me a message where it was a link to a video that this guy was doing talking about how there is an agenda for the school for Marxists, people who are in high educational position who are just basically Marxist socialist type people that are trying to destroy the country from within, and they're doing that through our education system, and that's kind of uh, pretty heavy duty stuff. And it's like there's a lot to talk about there. It's a lot to break down. Basically, the guy goes through a paper and he talks about all breaks down the paper and kind of just lets you know what they're trying to get into our school systems and it kind of gets a little wordy sometimes. It was a very hard listen for me personally, but it was a lot of heavy duty stuff, and it was one of those things that I would probably have talked about that if the scholar had we probably would have talked about it had the scholar jumped on today. But we're getting into that Christmas time, the Christmas season, and his job really relies a lot. Not that it relies a lot on the Christmas time, but it gets very, very busy during this time. So it's just a normal thing uh, for him. It's just one of those things that's just how it is. But that video was pretty heavy duty. I kind of wanted to take a step back, since I'm on my own today, and just kind of catch up on what's going on and give you my 2 cents about all these little news articles that have been popping up and just you know current events type of stuff. So that'd be kind of fun. So I have some articles pulled up about some things that I wanted to talk about, and a lot of the stuff that I'm gonna talk about is actually on timcast.com. If you guys wanted to check that out, let me pull this up so you guys can at least see it. So you go to timcast.com, and they got a bunch of articles. So I wanted to pull up this article right here. So this is where I'm going to be getting the majority of the articles and everything like that. We're not going to be putting up any videos or anything like that. You guys know how we are. I really don't want to be putting too many videos or anything, so that we don't have to worry about copyright issues and all that junk. But getting into it, so last week I believe it was. What are we? We're the 11th. Yeah, around last week there was another school shooting, right? There was a school shooting in Michigan, right? And there were some things that came out. Whenever there's a school shooting, whenever there's some sort of big event, something like that, I always have the tendency of just not saying anything, not doing anything, not really reading anything. I don't really follow it or anything like that. I kind of let time go on for maybe about a week or so, sometimes even a month, and let let it all kind of play out so that when I do read it, when I do start looking into it, the information is a little bit more accurate rather than just getting like first impressions right off the bat. And most of the time, it's like they're half truths and it's a lot of assumptions, and it's not really 100% accurate. Um, but waiting to give all these news outlets and all of these, if there's like a police investigation, giving them time to actually go out and investigate and everything like that, you get a little bit clearer, a little bit better story. So that's kind of what I did. So in this article, there's actually some information on here. There were some things that we had found out, and it's pretty interesting. So according to this article, it says that there was actually a meeting. So they knew that this kid was it was having some sort of issues, whether it was mentally or if there was something going on with this kid. They had meetings with the parents and everything like that. So this article basically brings up that the police were looking for these people. Now, as of this article, they had found them and they had arrested them already and everything like that. I saw some videos pop up where they had the parents of this kid already already picked up, by the police, already arrested and everything like that, and brought in for questioning and everything like that. So that's already going on. But prior to that, these people pretty much went into hiding because they knew themselves something was on. So they had a teacher found a note of this kid in the classroom. They found like a letter. So right here, this is from CNN. It says the day of the shooting, a teacher found a note on the student's desk that alarmed her so much that she took a picture of it on her phone. The note included a drawing of a semi-automatic handgun. How do they know this gun? The handgun was semi-automatic. Okay, whatever. Pointing at the words, "The thoughts won't stop. Help me." Right. Another section of the drawing was a drawing of a bullet with the words "blood everywhere" written above it. Between the drawing of the gun and the bullet is one of a person who seems to have been shot twice and is bleeding. So a teacher found this on this student's desk. I'm not even going to say that kid's name. So they found this on the desk, right? So they knew there was an issue going on with this student. Oh, just got a message from the Slanted Scholar. I don't know if he's going to come on. So we'll see. We'll just keep going. So they knew something was up. They had a meeting with the parents. They just had a meeting with the parents. During this they actually had a meeting prior to this. So at the meeting, the parents were told to get their son into therapy within 48 hours. According to the reports, the parents refused to remove their child from the school, so he remained in the building. So instead of them they have actually could have prevented this. So because apparently after that, according to this reporting, the shooting began 2 hours later. So the teacher found this note, you know, after they had this meeting, and then the parents were notified prior to them finding this note, that they need to get this kid some help. The school whoever was in this meeting, I'm not going to assume who was in this meeting. So whoever was in this meeting with this parent, the school personnel, they had let the family know that there is something wrong and you need to get this kid help. Parents refused, and lo and behold, 2 hours later, the the shooting began. So the article basically is about, these parents are going to receive some charges. They're going to be charged with, I believe it's manslaughter, which makes absolutely total sense. I'm very much on the fence about this, and on top of this, like I'll get to my 2 cents about it, but on top of this, what I find so interesting is that these people knew he had they must have known he had some sort of problem. They must have known he had some sort of problem, and yet they went and bought him a gun. So we'll talk about this. Read a little bit more into it. So right here, at the meeting, they told him the shooting began 2 hours later. So they said that the parents, quote, failed to ask their son if he had his gun with him or where his gun was located, and failed to inspect his backpack for the presence of the gun which he had with him. So notice they said they failed to ask their son if he had his. That's to imply that that's ownership. So I don't see it on the article here, but I had read it on another article mentioning that they actually bought that gun. The parents bought the gun for the kid. Like it was like they bought it like on Black Friday or something like that. I don't remember what it was exactly, but they basically bought this kid a gun. Now, if you know that there's something wrong with your kid, you shouldn't be buying something like a gun. You don't want to buy him or her something that's going to potentially exacerbate a problem. It's like going and buying an alcoholic, or getting a gift card for an alcoholic to like a liquor store. Like we have a store where we live called Holiday Wine and Liquor. There's another one called Feldman's. Like it's like getting them a gift card. Be like, oh well, they sell other stuff there too. They sell non-alcoholic beverages too, and he can just go shopping there because that's what he likes. It's like no, it's an alcoholic, and you're giving him access to alcohol. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why would you give access to a child who obviously has some sort of mental health issues access to a gun? Why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad that they're looking to press charges against these parents as well because they're just as responsible. It's ridiculous. I'm going to get into it about whether the kid is responsible or not, but I kind of wanted to get like a little bit of a perspective here. So after all this went down, so many students had died. I believe that there was four at the time, three or four. I don't remember, but there was a lot of injuries as well. So all of that happened. There was all of these issues going down. But what was so strange to me is that I'm trying to find the actual because I want to read it exactly the way it is so that it's very clear. So right here, the parents had failed to ask him. They were being completely negligent. So right here, the parents had contacted their child. So the words that they use is just so interesting. So a teacher also caught him browsing online to purchase ammunition. The school contacted the parents and the mother texted the student saying, "LOL, I'm not mad at you. You have to learn not to get caught." So they knew that this kid had some sort of intention of doing something. They were more upset that he got caught looking at things that he wasn't supposed to in terms of like, weapon stuff related to a weapon. I mean, you can't even take ammunition onto a campus or anything like that. And then on top of that, this kid is looking up to buy ammunition. That's just crazy to me that the parents would allow this. Like they are very much responsible for this. So it's definitely a case of neglect. So moving on, they go on and talk about it a little bit more and talk about little details here and there. I really don't like the way the structure of this article is written. I really don't like the structure of this article. It's kind of all over the place, and it's not really clear who is talking. The gun was being stored in an unlocked drawer in the bedroom of the parents. That's even more ridiculous. So it's just more ridiculousness after ridiculousness. It just goes on and on. But so with the parents being charged, I think that's a good thing. Now, I think that's very much something that needs to happen. But in the sense that what should happen to this kid? Should he be charged as well? It's easy for me to say yes. Like, yeah, he definitely should be receiving some sort of punishment for this criminal act that he did. Right? He killed people. He went out and he intentionally killed people. There's other videos and things like that of him participating in like very malicious type actions, like lighting things on fire and destroying things and things like that. And that's just like big red flags all over the place. So it's almost like he was practicing, like almost just trying to get his, fix of destruction or whatever's going on in his head that is pushing him to create destruction, right? Because that's what I feel what's going on in this kid's head. So this kid has obviously some sort of mental health issues. Should we be punishing that, or should we be looking for ways to offer some sort of, therapy to this? I don't know. This is more of a moral dilemma type thing, right? I don't know. I can really understand both people on both sides. I can understand someone saying like, nope, this kid just needs to go. We need to lock this kid up. This kid cannot function in society, and we got to get rid of this kid. Like this, no, this type of person just should not exist. Yet on the flip side, you could have the idea of, well, that's not, this kid is not normal. He's not right. There's something wrong with him in the sense that it's almost as if it's a medical condition, right? He has no control over the thoughts that are in his head. I feel like that's very much a possibility as well. It's a big moral conundrum type of thing where, is he solely responsible? I do want to say that he is. I do want to say that he is. So he kind of threw out red flags out there. He kind of gave out hints that that he wanted help, right? He wouldn't have drew these pictures. He wouldn't have done all these little things that he left for people to find if he didn't want someone to kind of find it. You know what I mean? It was almost like a little, it wasn't a cry for help, but it was a little bit of a hint that he needs help, right? So I think that he understood what he was doing was bad. The idea of it alone is bad. So I feel like it's kind of, he should, it should be a little bit of both, right? I think he should still have to pay some sort of consequence, some sort of time, right? He has to go to prison. He has to go to some sort of correctional facility, whether it has to be like juvenile something, because he's a kid, unless he's 18 years old, but I don't think he's 18 yet. But then again, I don't know how the law works in Michigan. I don't know what is considered an adult in Michigan. It could be 16 or 17, but the kid was pretty young. He was about 15 or 16. So I still think he would be, if he qualifies as a minor, then he should go to some sort of juvenile or something like that. Um, in the meantime, and then when he reaches of age, then he gets moved on to, an adult facility or whatever. When he turns 18 or whatever, they're adult, whatever they consider an adult in Michigan. While at the same time be receiving some sort of therapy, you know, some sort of medical, help that can kind of help him, see if he can give him that opportunity, give him that chance I don't think he could ever redeem himself from this. Like I don't think you can ever, yeah, like this is just like beyond trying to redeem yourself. Like he needs to, I don't think he can get any redemption, but I think he should be at least be given the opportunity to try to correct his mental, I don't know what to call it. It's like a mental deficiency, a mental disorder. It's, you know, give him the opportunity to try to correct that, to try to fix that. That's what I think. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but it's just one of those things that got me thinking a little bit. Where is this kid solely responsible for this? I mean, in in a sense, he kind of is, right? Just like just just from a black and white point of view, just looking at it straight, he is solely responsible for what he did. But you did have people help him, right? And that was like his parents. Why did they buy him the gun? And on top of that, why did they leave the gun unlocked? They didn't put it in a safe or anything like that. They just left it in an unlocked drawer. So they definitely deserve some of the responsibility for this as well. So with that being said, moving on, we have something with California. California, paving the way for ridiculousness. So with abortion and everyone talking about Roe v. Wade and everything like that. So when was this reported? This was reported not yesterday. I think it was Thursday. Thursday. California plans to become one of the possible quote unquote sanctuary states for abortion if Roe v. Wade is overturned. So, a sanctuary state for abortion. So when I hear of a sanctuary state, I think of you can go there and you're pretty much safe within the confine. You're pretty much safe within the confines of what that sanctuary state is keeping sanction for, right? So in this case, where was it? We're looking at ways to support the inevitability and looking at ways to expand our protections. So California means that this California would cover the expenses of women traveling from states where abortion has been banned to seek a termination. This would include the cost of the procedure as well as travel and accommodation. Okay, so I don't really agree. I'm kind of on the same. I've heard other people talk about it where they are pro-choice, but they are pro-choice, but they are against abortions. I believe that's how they word it. Where basically is a woman should have the right to choose, but abortion is something that shouldn't be done. I'm kind of on that, but I'll take it like to the next step where um, I believe that a woman has the ultimate right of what she think to do what she feels is best for her, right? I think that's true that for any person, right? Any person has the right to decide what is best for them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a woman, right? In this case, it applies the same way, right? The only difference is I don't agree with people being able to go out and, you know, live a certain type of lifestyle and have people pay for that lifestyle. If people want to go out and have like unprotected sex and just, be having kids out of wedlock and live that type of lifestyle, that's perfectly fine. You can go and do that. You have the freedom to go and do that. But I do not want to be paying for that to support that lifestyle. I don't think that that's right. And that's what it sounds like this sanctuary state is going to be. Just reading that, it says that they would cover the cost of the procedure as well as travel and accommodation. So say you live in Florida. You live in Florida and they banned abortions. If you fly all the way to California from Florida, you get a hotel, you get your abortion, you get your procedure. I don't know if there's recovery time, but you would have to stay in the hospital or whatever for a certain amount of time. Then you go back to Florida, you fly back to Florida, and then you go on about your life. It sounds like they're going to try to make the people of California, the taxpayers, pay for all of this. If you agree with all of that, I, okay, that you can spend your money however you want. But man, if that were to happen in a place like Texas, I know it probably wouldn't happen in a place like Texas, but say it for me, like if I lived in California and they said that we're going to make this a sanctuary city for people to come and have abortions. We're going to pay for their trips. We're going to pay for their room and board. We're going to pay for the procedure. We're going to pay for all of this stuff so that we can so that we can give women the freedom to have an abortion. They can have as many abortions as they want. No, I do not. I would not want to pay for something like that. And that leads me to think of other things too. Like this is just another, pile of crap that California is just putting on itself. Like just making it a worse and worse state. Like I had always wanted to go to California. When I was younger, getting out of high school, like getting fresh out of high school, uh, a buddy of mine and myself, we were actually thinking of like just going out to California and figuring it out. Like let's just go to California and we'll find a whatever job and we'll just live out there because everything it seemed so awesome. Like it seemed like so like I don't know, it just seemed like another a completely different place, like that you could go to and have like access to the world. Like it seemed like the place to be at the time. Like where else could we go that we can have this type of opportunity? We can see all of these cool crazy places and have an experience like that. I don't think there's really any other at the time. We were thinking that there was really no other place that we had wanted to go. Like we wanted to go to California. Now that I think about it, it's like I get invites from my mom and my wife and I talk about it like, hey, let's go on a road trip, let's go here. All the places that we would really like to go are like in California. I would love to go see uh, all those different national parks that they have. I would love to go to Yosemite. I would love to go see all the awesome things that they have over there in terms of like national parks and wildlife and everything like that. It's awesome. It's really really cool. But I hate the idea of me going over there and spending money and a portion of that money going to provide for policies and for social government services that I don't agree with. Like I don't want to give any money to a state that is going to take that in turn take that money to go and pay for abortions. It's not that I don't agree with abortion. I just don't want to pay for it. I mean, I honestly don't agree with abortions. I don't think people should just be having them willy nilly. Like, I don't see how that's not a right. I don't think a person has the right to kill another person. Unless that person is some sort of threat to you, is a threat to your life, that's a different story. But if you go out willingly and you make the decision, like, I'm going to go and have sex, unprotected sex, and that leaves me open to the possibility that I could get pregnant. But that's okay. I'm just going to have an abortion. If you go out willingly and get pregnant, you should not be able to just kill somebody like that. Like kill an unborn baby like that. Like I just don't agree with that. I believe that the woman should be able to choose, a person should be able to choose what's best for them and their body, but I don't want to pay for it. You need to pay for it. If you want to kill a baby, if you want to go out and have sex, and then decide that you want to kill the baby that's growing inside you because of the sex that you decided to have, then you should pay for it. The government should pay for it. There's no right in the we don't have the right to do that in our Constitution, in our Bill of Rights, or anything like that. And I shouldn't have to pay for it out of my pocket. That's just ridiculous. That's right. That's kind of like where I stand on that. So kind of leading on with like health and everything like that. The Omicron virus. Well, it's not the virus, right? It's the Omicron strain, I guess it is, right? So the Omicron significantly reduces COVID antibody protection. So what does this mean? The first official study of the Omicron variant of the coronavirus against the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine shows that the variant has a significant ability to evade the virus's fighting antibodies that are a key line of defense. So that's a fancy way of saying that the vaccines may not be that great at fending off these variants and things like that. So the things that I've read the Omicron uh, about that Omicron variant is that it's more transmissible, but it's not as deadly, right? It can transmit very fast, but it's kind of like a trade-off, right? It can spread very easily, it can spread very quickly, but when it does spread, it doesn't have that much of an effect. It doesn't hit as hard as the original strain of COVID did. It's just like anything else. When things are evolving, things are adapting. It's trying to create trade-offs. It's trying to create. It's just another way that evolution works, right? So I don't want to talk too much about this because I don't know I don't know how it works in terms of like what you can and cannot say when it comes to stuff. I know that there's certain things that you just cannot flat out say, and I don't really know what those specific things are, so I don't want to talk about it too much in that sense. But what I find interesting is like this whole mask wearing thing. This whole mask wearing thing. I remember when they were talking about wearing masks, and when people were putting on masks, they were putting them on because they thought that it would help them from contracting it. It would stop people from getting the virus, right? You have something covering your face, and you're not allowing air from the outside to come in, right? What I feel that people forget about the masks is that how they work. What's the purpose of a mask? The purpose of the mask is not to keep you from getting the virus. That's not the purpose of the mask. The purpose of the mask is to keep you from spreading the virus. That's the whole purpose of the mask. It's not to protect you. The mask is to protect other people. That's the whole purpose of the mask. So when you wear those masks that are like KN95 or N95 or whatever, those are specifically designed so that no particles can leave when you're breathing, right? Because particles can get into your body if you just have a mask on. They can go in through your eyes, they can go in through your ears. If you have like a little open cut or something like that, they can go in through there. Things can get into your body without having to go in through your mouth or your nose. Now, that's like the easiest way to get into your body, right? Because we're constantly breathing in and out all the time, right? So it makes sense to cover your those areas where you have the most intake and output, right? You have the most air coming in and air coming out. So you cover that up. That'll kind of help, spreading things around. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't still get infected. Okay? The purpose of the virus, the purpose of the mask is to protect others, not to protect not to protect you. So if you're old, I don't think old people should be really wearing masks as much as they are, because old people already have trouble breathing, right? They have trouble breathing. They have trouble moving around and everything like that. These masks are really, really constricting and things like that. That's why Dr. Fauci had came out earlier talking how the mask doesn't really help, and they kind of flip flopped on it. But he was correct. They really don't help in keeping you from getting the virus. They really don't help from preventing you getting it. That's not the purpose of the mask. And he was correct. He was right when he said that. He's still like half right, but it's kind of hard to trust everything that he says. But basically, older people, I think they're setting themselves up to get more sick wearing the mask than they would if they weren't wearing the mask, because I feel that most older people within in that age group, and then who have like underlying conditions, they should be getting the vaccine. Those are people that definitely need the vaccine. Like me, if I was in that age group, if I was, over the age of 50, yeah, over the age of 50, I'd probably get vaccinated. I would get the vaccine. I would definitely want to go out and have some sort of protection, so that if I were to get the virus itself, it would kind of help me out, so that it wouldn't hit me so hard, right? Same thing if I had like diabetes, or some sort of like what's that one that's called lupus or something like that. Something that uh, that diminish that keeps my immune system from working as good. I would definitely consider getting. No, I wouldn't even consider it. I would actually get the vaccine, right? That would be something that would definitely get it. But in terms of like wearing the masks and doing all these little extra things, like it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Like, you need to understand like the purpose of the mask. Like we really don't need to be wearing masks all over the place unless you are sick. If you are sick, if you're coughing and sneezing and like just a bunch of stuff is coming out of your mouth, then you need to be wearing a mask, because you're throwing potentially all of these, viruses and all this stuff, whatever's making you feel sick, that's what you're spreading. So we do this before. Like, I mean, we've always done this. If you feel sick, if you're at a hospital or something like that, they'll usually put a mask on people. They'll ask people like, can you please wear a mask if you're feeling sick? If you have a cough and you have a temperature, you may have the flu. So they have people wear masks, so they don't spread it. That's the only reason. If you don't have any symptoms, if you don't feel sick or anything like that, you really don't need to be wearing a mask. Because chances are you're not spreading anything, right? The mask is not going to protect you from getting the virus. You know what? And the vaccine's really not doing that great of a job at keeping you from getting the virus either. There's been reports coming out talking about how people who are like double vaccinated, triple vaccinated, and all this craziness, and they still get these breakthrough cases and everything like that. So it really doesn't make that much of a difference. It's really, really crazy because you really need to start thinking about your health in terms of wearing the mask. You have a lot of bacteria in your mouth. There's a lot of bacteria, a lot of, nasty stuff that gets trapped in your mouth, that gets trapped in your nostrils, and in all of that mucus and boogers that you have in your nose and in your sinus and everything like that. All that is designed to like trap all of that bacteria. So when you cough and you sneeze, it throws it all out, right? It gets rid of all of it. When you blow your nose, all of the bacteria, all of that nastiness is like trapped in all that mucus. And you take that and you throw it in the trash, and it's you get a lot of it out of your body. But what happens if like you're coughing and you're sneezing and you're breathing and you're and you have your face in that mask? The bacteria is just going in and out, in and out, in and out. You can get like a horrible sinus infection. You can get really bad sinus infections. And a lot of people don't think like, well, it's just a sinus infection. If you're old enough, a sinus infection could be really damaging. It could be almost life threatening. You can get a fever, you can get chills. It's really, really bad. It's sinus infections are no fun. You can have difficulty breathing, all that nasty stuff. So it's just something to think about like everything that's going on. Again, I don't want to be dogging on the vaccine. I don't want to be dogging on anything that's going on. Just kind of laying out common sense stuff of what I think when it comes to the virus and everything like that with coronavirus and everything. So moving on, we had some things going on. We had some court cases that passed up, right? We had our episode of Kyle Rittenhouse and everything like that, which was really really cool. We talked about Kyle Rittenhouse. Everything's been pretty good. I was really really concerned about that. We touched a little bit on that last episode. Was it last episode? Yeah, I believe it was last episode where I think a lot of people were sleeping on the importance of that verdict, the importance of that self defense verdict that he was found not guilty of murder and everything like that. That it really solidified that we do have the right to defend ourselves. And yeah, I think a lot of people were sleeping on the importance. Another, what I feel was a major win, a major, what is it, a white pill, right? When it's like it gives you hope, was the Jesse Smollett, the Jesse Subway, the the juicy Subway bandit. Jesse Smollett was found guilty of 5 out of 6 charges of disorderly conduct. These are felony charges, so they're pretty serious charges. So he was found guilty out of 6 of them. He was found guilty for 5 of them. So each one of those, I believe, carries a sentence of right here a disorderly conduct charge. A disorderly conduct charge for a false crime report is a class 4 felony that is punishable by up to 3 years in prison and a $25,000 fine. The $25,000 fine I feel is like nothing for this guy because I don't know. I think this guy is like a big shot or whatever. I guess I've never seen him in any of those shows. He was in that show Empire or whatever the hell, and I tried to watch a couple of episodes of it. I just got bored. I thought it was dumb. I don't know who watches that stuff, but if you watch it, I'm sorry. It's just a boring show. I didn't like it at all. It's it's the same thing every episode. But whatever. $25,000. I think that's nothing for him. That's like chump change for him. But what is interesting is that it's 3 years in prison. This is per charge. Remember, he was found guilty of for 5 charges. So that's 3 times 5. That's 15 years potentially that he could spend in prison. I don't think he's going to get those 15 years, but I don't know. I really feel like he could get like maybe 1 year in prison and then the rest can be like probation. And this shouldn't be like regular like little whatever prison. This should be like federal pound me in the ass prison, right? It's a federal crime. It's a class 4 felony. Yeah, class 4 felony. So I don't know. I just found that the story that he said was really, and that was another one too that I wasn't ready to jump the gun and be like, yeah, this guy's lying. That's ridiculous. Whatever. His story is just stupid. That makes absolutely no sense. I wasn't ready to jump on there. I kind of wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, like, hey, this could, I guess that's possible. Things are possible. There's some crazy people out there on both sides. Anything is possible. But after everything came out, like it was like, thank goodness that there's some common sense in this world, because man, that story itself was the most ridiculous thing. Like, what I want to know is, and no one has mentioned this, no one has brought this up, unless I'm missing it, but I haven't seen anybody bring it up. Where was that sandwich? Where was it? He went to go get a Subway sandwich at 2 in the morning or something like that. What Subway is open at 2 in the morning? Who the hell has a craving for a Subway sandwich at 2 in the morning? This guy, he should have said something else, like something else that's like open 24 hours. Like McDonald's is open 24 hours. I don't know what they have in Chicago or whatever. I know we have a McDonald's that's open 24 hours. We have a place called Whataburger. Whataburger is a Texas thing. That's open 24 hours. They got to have some fast food places in Chicago that are open 24 hours. It's like a city. It's like a bustling city. They should have a 24-hour joint. Why the hell would he say, "Oh, I went to go get a sandwich at Subway"? Jesse Sublet. Trying to think of a name of this guy with a Subway sandwich. Jesse Sublet. Went to go get a Subway sandwich at 2 in the morning. That was the part that was a red flag that stuck out to me. Like, where, and then if you went to go get a sandwich, where's the sandwich? Did they attack you on your way to getting the sandwich? Because the police could have gone to that Subway and been like, "Do you have a receipt, to verify if this person actually put in an order for a sandwich?" Right? And who does that? Who calls ahead and says like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get I want to pick up a sandwich, make a sandwich for me so I can pick it up because I want to eat the sandwich so fast, because I love Subway sandwiches." I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Unless he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna walk to Subway, and then I'm gonna when I get there, I'm gonna be inspired by all of the toppings that they have and all of the different cutlets of meat that they have to choose from. I want to look at all of the different options that I have, and I'll be inspired to make my to decide what sandwich that I want." I don't know. I thought it. What the hell happened to the sandwich? That's what I want to know. He never got to put that sandwich order in. Such a damn shame. But either way, I felt that him getting the guilty verdict was such a great, what's the word I'm thinking for? It brought back confidence in our justice system, right? They just didn't give this guy a pass, no matter how much they kept telling the lie over and over and over again. It didn't really nudge the jury enough to say like, let's just give it to him. Let's just give him a pass. Like, no one got hurt. He was the only one that got hurt, and let's just give it to him. Let's just give him let the trial get dismissed, and we won't come up with a verdict. We'll be a split, a hung jury or something like that, right? No, they said like, no, this is ridiculous. He's guilty. Like, the evidence is overwhelming. He's guilty. And sure, like, this really didn't hurt anybody, but this could have potentially opened up the door for very dangerous situations where you have people uh, doing like these false police reports and things like that, and just wasting precious police time. As we go more and more into it, this is a talk that I want to have with our slanted scholar. That the more and more I think about it, I really don't have too much trust in the police. But in this particular case, to have a situation where you could potentially take police away from a certain case or something like that. You can put police man hours into doing that, into like a wild goose chase. That just leaves so many opportunities, so much possibilities for you know people to take advantage of that kink right there in the armor, that little kink in the armor where it's like, let's waste up police resources, and that can be a form of defunding, right? Just just doing all of these ridiculous. What's the word that I'm thinking of? He was acquitted of felony of filing police reports, right? These ridiculous reports of saying that this happened or this happened, and then just overwhelming the police to the point where they can't actually go out and prevent and handle actual crime that's going on, right? It just leaves that it could have potentially left the door open for stuff like that. So leading on with the leading from that, leading on to more white pill uh, kind of good news going on in the news. CNN gets rid of Chris Cuomo. I never really watched Chris Cuomo. I watched one episode of that show that he had. I don't even remember the name of the show, but it was the worst, like 5 minutes of my. I tried to watch the whole thing. I could only last about 5 minutes. It was the worst 5 minutes, and I'll never get them back. It was just the most ridiculous thing. So, I just stopped, and I can't really watch that guy. And then the topping on the cake was I saw this video of him doing tricep extensions with 100-pound dumbbells. Like they walk up to him like, "Oh, hey Chris, what are you doing?" And he's just casually with one arm doing tricep extensions with 100-pound dumbbell. And that was already like, this guy is a freaking idiot. I cannot. Yeah, no, I'm done. Like, I cannot watch anything. If I cannot watch anything with this guy on it, this guy is the most ridiculous person I've seen who gets paid a ridiculous amount of money. Like, who gives this guy this amount of money? It's so ridiculous. So CNN put out the following statement. Chris Cuomo was suspended earlier this week pending further evaluation of new information that came to light about his involvement with his brother's defense. Remember, his brother was the governor of New York. No, the mayor of New York. I'm sorry. Anthony Cuomo, right? We retain a respected law firm to conduct the review and have terminated him effective immediately. So Chris Cuomo is gone. So this leads me to think like what if there's a change in the guard of CNN? What if they're just looking for any little excuse to try to get rid of all of these horrible people like Brian Stelter, Don Lemon? What if Don Lemon is next? They're trying to get rid of all these people that don't have these good ratings because who the hell watches CNN? I don't think that people are actually watching CNN. I forgot who said it. I think it was either Joe Rogan or who was it? I don't remember who it was. I want to say it was Joe Rogan that said like CNN is on, but people are probably not even watching it. It's just on like in the background. They're not really paying attention to it, right? So they're getting all of this. They're getting all of this ad money, and the ad company and the people who are paying these ad companies are saying like, hey, no one's buying our products. Like, so we're just wasting our money with this ad revenue. Right, because they're telling them like, hey, we got the key demo here. We got so many people watching our show, and it's people from this age to this age, and they say, okay, yeah, 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 we'll pay you to put our product on there to advertise. But in reality, these people aren't actually watching it, so they're not being exposed to that advertisement because it's just on in the background. And I've seen it too. The place that I work at, they have an office, and they have like two like secretaries in there, like at the office, just to take take in people as they come in and direct them and stuff like that. There's a TV in there, and they have CNN running on that TV, but no one's watching it. It's just there. It's just on. No one's watching it. And I'm willing to think that there's probably a lot of houses and a lot of offices and businesses and stuff like that that have the TVs on, and they just put it on CNN because it's there. So how many of these people are actually watching, CNN? Leads me to think, right? What if it's already affecting their bottom line? So they're looking to clean house, right? What if Don Lemon is next? What if Brian Stelter is next? That fat round dude. That he has a handbag or something. He's European bag or something like that. I don't remember. But what if they're trying to get rid of all these people and kind of make that shift? Because I don't care what ideology is. At the end of the day, these people want to make money, right? They don't really care. They don't really care too much of their ideology if it's costing them millions and millions of dollars, right? So I don't know. This might be like something to kind of sleep on, to kind of just have that retained in the back of your head and remember like, hey, they got rid of Chris Cuomo. They got rid of Chris Cuomo. They got rid of Chris Cuomo. They're maybe looking to getting rid of Don Lemon because he was actually talking to Jesse Sublet, before the trial was going to start and everything like that. While it was all under investigation, I'm assuming. So that could be like a door being left open right there to maybe get rid of Don Lemon. So I don't know. Have this Chris Cuomo thing in the back of your head, because this could be a big white pill right here of CNN kind of shifting ways, because uh, Donald Trump is out. They have nothing else to talk about, and now it's starting to affect their bottom line. So this could be a good thing. All right, guys, that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about. I don't really want to go too much. I'm already almost going into an hour. I definitely don't want this video to be more than an hour, especially since I'm by myself. It's gonna be pretty boring. But I definitely wanted to put something out there, just kind of in the meantime, since the slanted scholar hasn't been able to join us. When he joins us, we'll get into the heavy duty stuff, and that'll be fun. That's why I kind of wanted to do this episode as kind of like a, not really filler, but just kind of give like a little time to relax, right? Just kind of not get into the philosophical stuff too much, the deep stuff that really makes you think and question your whole existence, and philosophy and all of that stuff. That's kind of heavy duty stuff. Kind of good just to take a little break from it and just talk about what's going on, in the world of news and all the current events and stuff like that, just to take a little break. All right, guys, remember, this is Slamfire. Oh, this is the news article, actually. This is Slamfire. You can check us out on slamfiremedia.com. We have all of our videos hosted on YouTube, BitChute, and Rumble. Okay, so you can go to slamfiremedia.com and you can choose whichever one you like to um, watch the video on, right? Not a lot of people like to watch it on YouTube, but so we have those options for BitChute and Rumble. So you guys can check us out there at slamfiremedia.com. Thanks for watching. You guys have a good one. Take it easy.